The biggest challenge was kind of the fear of the unknown. This is going to be a big change.
Trying to decide how much to give, what percentage, and making that decision as a couple. At the same time, I tend to be very frugal. It's a challenge to just open that hand instead of keeping it closed-fisted.
Yeah, and it wasn't that we didn't give to charity. We already did support some things, Christian and secular, like the SPCA and other things. It was just all right, we're Christians. That is now our identity. We have committed to that, and we have, you could nail us to the wall, and we are never denying that. So if we're Christians, how in is in?
Right, and if we're in, we just had to make the step.
And then start budgeting, because we never really had a budget. So this kind of made us look more closely at the budget.
Right, but just getting over that, let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, at first, it was just, before we started tithing, it was, open the wallet and see if you had anything to put in the basket.
Right, when we first started going to church, that's what you did. You just threw some money in the envelope. Once we decided we were going to be regular givers, we figured out what our weekly income was. With that amount and the amount that we decided to tithe on, we had a figure.
Once we decided we were going to give, then we had to, figure out our rhythm. How are we going to do it?
Right, so we figured out our weekly income. We figured out how much we were going to tithe, what our percentage was, and that was our figure. That was the figure we were going to give to God every week.
First. Before we paid the other bills, him first.
Right. I have a sticky note right in my checkbook, and that's the first check we write every week. And the amount may go up or down based on if our income goes up or down. If we get a bonus check or something happens that we don't get paid, we also make it up the following week if we miss church. It's not a bye week.
It's his money first.
It's his money first. So we make a decision and we just do it.
Well, God doing his part, he showed up.
God really showed up when we started tithing.
Do we tithe on what we bring home? Or do we tithe on what we get paid? Because there's a difference, because in between there's Uncle Sam.
Right.
One day at church, the pastor said, well, what do you want to be blessed on? You want to be blessed on, what you bring home, or do you want to be blessed on all of it? And we decided that was a pretty black and white statement, and it was literally an answer to our prayer that we prayed specifically. And it wasn't more than a couple of weeks later, after we had decided, okay, that's what we're doing, it's done, it's settled, that I got a raise, and I hadn't had a raise in 3-4 years that literally made it a net wash. I know it doesn't happen like that all the time, but I think he was being specific to us, because maybe he was going to be asking more from us in terms of time, talent, and the treasure. So he showed up.
He did. If we could encourage anybody that is where we were several years ago when trying to make this decision to be regular percentage givers,
the sooner you cross over and decide,
just do it.
The less stress you have in your life, because that commitment is a release, actually, of wonder and worry and freedom of God to bless you.
Right.
And giving shouldn't be something given with a partially closed hand.
If I try to offer you this cookie and I say, I made this for you and here it is, but I really want it because it's yummy and I made it and I worked hard, it's not really a gift. But if I say, I made this cookie for you, I was thinking about you while I was baking them, here, it's nice and warm from the oven, you're gonna feel blessed by that. And God wants us to be giving from our heart, not because it's an obligation, not because He says to. He does say we can test Him in this area. However, He wants us to do it from our heart. He wants us to be a cheerful giver. And in turn, he can bless us, and he will, and he does.
Yeah, and it's sow what you reap. If you sow sparingly, you will reap sparingly.